So you had just navigated some social situations in which you had found out that essentially both Aaron Winbrook, the innkeeper of the town, Akara Highshield, and Matur Highshield had been working together to various means. You found out that they are actually themselves responsible for the outbreak of undeath, as they were performing some kind of experiment on the monoliths that you have yourself discovered over the past week. You have no real insight as to what exactly they are, but you managed to avoid getting into any significant conflict or combative situations with both of these individuals, using what you had learned to try and swing them in your favor, at least for the time being. So literally the last thing that you had done was convince Akara Highshield through a mixture of playing to her flaws and some very lucky rolls that you essentially are going to help her overthrow and or defeat Matur Highshield, who apparently is sort of like the mastermind behind the operation. Akara Highshield actually thinking that she would have done a much better job in his stead, and sick of being his lackey, is now helping you towards this end. You don't know how far your alliance will extend past that. You don't really have a good idea of her motivations outside of this specific circumstance. But right now, you are aware that Matur Highshield is in the town hall, presumably trying to turn the town against you, saying that you are responsible for everything that's gone wrong. In particular, most recently, setting fire to a pretty significant area of the Forlorn Parish, which has definitely got the town up in arms. And now you're just trying to deal with the hand that you have kind of been given, but also a hand that you have played to get yourself into this situation. So as you all stand, the sun rising on the horizon towards the ocean, you stand with Akara Highshield and your party clustered into one small group. You also have the two guards and two unknown individuals who seem to be dressed mostly in casual linens on the other side, about 20-25 feet away. They're not involved in your conversation, but you can see that they're trying to get some glimpse as to what you're talking about amongst yourselves. So Akara immediately looks to you and asks, so, not to be crude, but I don't suppose you have some insight as to how we're going to, ditch this lot. After all, I mean, the two at the back there, the ones without the swords, I can vouch for them, but, well, to be perfectly honest, for some time I've been worried that Matur has been gathering his own allies, should I say, his own eyes within the town, and there's no telling that if we let all four of these people go, somebody won't go running to him and tell him what we're up to before we get back to the estate. So she offers some suggestions. The first one, admittedly, she doesn't try to stick with, which is that you kill all of them. The other being that you restrain them, and the other option being that you let them go. So we're going to start today's session with, a quick poll, as we need to know how you are going to deal with the situation, as you currently have these two guards and two other locals who are essentially standing around waiting for something to happen. Again, the options offered to you are to restrain them, kill them, or to simply let them go and hope for the best. So the poll is open. What would you like to do? Do you have any input on how you should deal with the situation as it is? I'm going to turn up the ambience a tiny weeny bit. No one's got anything. Magic memory spell? Give me an Arcana check. So I'm opening the dice giveaway. Let's see if you can think of anything magical that may help you. Okay. Well, let's see what we get here. I'm going to close the giveaway. Okay, Christian. Christian, give us our dice roll, please. Okay, so with an 18 plus your... Oh, I've got to bring up your sheet here. Hang on. What is your Arcana? Oh, did I close that window? I'm a big dum-dum, chat. 1 second. D&D Beyond. Big roll, though. Hoggy Woggy. Sorry, I'm just having to bring up all my things again because I forgot to change this. Okay. Game rules. I think it's a +4. I just want to make sure. View campaign. Join as DM. There we go. Okay. Open character sheet. All right, so your Arcana is, in fact, a +7. So with a total of 25, as you start to consider some of the magical and non-magical means by which you may be able to try and swing the situation in your favor, you know that there are spells that can either modify somebody's memory or possibly simply convince people to do things that are convenient for you. However, you are also aware that you do not have access to these spells yourself. As you contemplate this and you speak out loud about it, Akara High Shield apparently also does not have means to this kinds of magic, and neither does Alaric. So there are magical means by which somebody could affect the situation. It's just that no one in your current party currently has access to any of those. There are a number of spells that could be used, but unfortunately, it's a mixture of not having the capability at this point in time and also current party members not being adequately prepared to deal with that kind of situation today. While as if you had given, if they had warning, if they had been anticipating something like this happening, they could have maybe looked into learning those for the day. So you choose to talk to them. In that case, I need you to give me a persuasion check with advantage. So you are going to approach and attempt to see if you can come to some kind of... Ooh. Okay, Herb with a check bonus. Okay, so this brings it to a flat roll. As charisma is not your best stat by a long stretch, this basically makes it a flat roll. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to enter the giveaway, and we'll go from there. Okay, closing the giveaway now. Okay, Herb. Herb. There we go. 3. So that's the first roll. The baseline is 3. It's great. All right, second roll. This one was with advantage, so there's still a chance. Feel free to enter again if you like. Herb's going in for the redemption roll. It's very good to see. All right, I'll close it pretty quickly here. I want to move things along and get us properly synced in here. So closing the giveaway now. Okay, Eternus. Eternus, please give us our next roll. Could somebody do a D&D command, please, for Scion Crayon? Also, welcome to the stream. Eternus, when you're ready, please give us our exclamation mark roll. Oh, no, chat. It's all going horribly wrong. Okay. So, unfortunately, as you try to come to some sort of diplomatic conclusion to your circumstances, realizing that at the very least you could attempt to speak to these individuals to try and appeal to some either greater sense of justice or even at times self-preservation. Unfortunately, you go a little bit too hard on the self-preservation angle, and you can very clearly see that they all start to feel quite threatened, and they are now looking towards Akara Highshield with a look of utter confusion. And you're also noticing with your insight as it is that whatever facade Akara Highshield had been maintaining to this point has very clearly been dropped. Even in the face of these people who probably thought that they knew her, she has so little interest or regard for keeping up that mask anymore. So she's just kind of being quite dismissive. And as they decide to essentially consider maybe even drawing their weapons as they're kind of backing away ever so slightly, the guards are kind of motioning for the other individuals behind them to start kind of moving back. Akara just lets out a very kind of long, drawn-out and condescending sigh. Just kind of rolls her eyes, looks towards you, and says, well, are you going to do this or shall I? So, what is your plan here, chat? You can see that the locals are now reaching for weapons. They look very confused. So what are you going to try and do here? Are you going to try and fight them or kill them? Or are you going to try and simply subdue them? What is your plan of, pardon the phrasing, attack? You could simply run. So Christian's brought up a good point here. You could try and intimidate them. Start stabbing? Dang, that's cold. I mean, you could do it. If you can convince enough people to go on the stabby stab, that could be what you choose to do. That's entirely up to you. Okay, so we've got 3 for subdue, 3 for intimidate, and 1 for flee currently. Just so you're aware, you have to do exclamation mark vote, space, and then your answer, Scion Crayon. Not that I'm advocating for your option necessarily, but if you want to put your vote in, you need to make sure you include the vote like other people are doing. Okay, so you're voting to subdue. Okay, so given the situation, this will be a combat situation, right? But your aim is not to kill them, it is simply to subdue them. But it looks as though you're going to have to do that by force. So, I'm going to open the dice giveaway as we start our initiative rolls here. And I'm going to put on our combat music. Let me know if the volume's okay. I do want it to be quite quiet. I don't want it to be overpowering. So, exclamation mark dice to enter the giveaway. This puts you into a chance to win a dice roll for initiative, which determines how fast you are to react to the combat breaking out. So I am going to add our combatants to the tracker here while we wait. Give everyone a nice chance to enter the giveaway. Hello, Pepag. Welcome to the stream. What's happening? We're playing Twitch Plays D&D, an interactive D&D experience where chat controls a character together. Thank you, Firefly. Okay, turning down the music then. Is that okay, Firefly? I'll trust your judgment on this. I do want it to be pretty quiet, but I don't want it to be invisible. Okay, let's give it a go. So, as our combat starts, let's see how fast we are to react. Satanic Bean, type exclamation mark roll please, as you have won the giveaway. Okay, so Bean brings us to a total of dirty 20, which puts you joint first in initiative. In fact, to make this easier, I'll do this. Alden goes on your turn. Okay, here we go. So, you start first here, chat. What would you like to do? Now, obviously, to subdue them, you do have to attack them first. Now, we are working under the assumption you are not trying to kill these individuals. That much we've established. So you will attack as usual, and then when they get to low enough health, then you will essentially be doing non-lethal damage. Alternatively, as Firefly has pointed out, you can try and forcefully restrain them using grapples and tying them up with ropes and things like that. So that is subduing them a bit more peacefully, but it will potentially be harder. So, as says in the command, and as Falcon has said there, you do have targets on the board. You have numbers, so you can select one of those individuals and tell me that you want to grapple them or attack them or do anything like that. I think it's pretty clear at this point that you want to grapple target number 2. So what I need from you is an athletics check, chat. So this is determine how strong you are in this moment and how well you're able to forcefully grapple and stop the movements of this individual, preparing them for possible restraint. So exclamation mark dice to enter the giveaway, and then if you win, that means that you will actually roll the dice for us and determine what the result is. Pepag and TJ, welcome to the channel both. Thank you very much for your follows. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat and somebody will get you more or less caught up. So, closing the giveaway. Okay, Pepag. Pepag, you have won the dice roll. So, exclamation mark roll, please, to confirm it and to send that dice flying. Okay, so you have a athletics bonus of +3. So that brings us to 7. So not a great roll, but in order to determine if this is successful, I need to also roll for this guard here. So let's find out what the guard's athletics would be, or possibly dexterity. So they are the same. So let's see what they get. Okay, so unfortunately, the guard manages to wriggle away from your grasp, and you are currently unsuccessful. However, as a point of interest, you currently have 2 attacks now because you're level 5. So my question to you is, in this moment, given the fact that you are unsuccessful, do you want to try and grapple again, or do you want to instead turn to your blade or your bow? What would you like to do? You can simply try again with your second attack. It is up to you. We've got 1 vote for arrow stab. Use nuke. I'm afraid you don't have one of those. Nukes do not exist in this universe. I am so sorry to inform you of this. Try again. Okay. Try again is currently in the lead here. We technically have 2 votes for arrow stab, so I'll give it a second here to see if anybody wants to get their vote in. Doesn't look like they are. Okay, so you're going to try again. Opening the dice giveaway one more time. So exclamation mark dice to get in. The dice giveaway has opened. So exclamation mark dice to join the giveaway. And then you will try to see if you can grapple this individual once more. I will roll for the guard on the screen now. So you will need to get a 17 to succeed on this check. So it's going to have to be a big roll. You're going to need to roll at least a 14 on the dice. Oh, scratch that. You're going to need to get at least a 12 on the dice to be successful. Thank you, Falcon. Okay, closing the giveaway. Eternus again. Eternus, please give us another roll. We need a 12 or higher to successfully grapple this individual. Let's see what we get. The tension. The suspense. Okay, so unfortunately, the second grapple attempt also not successful in this specific situation. You are demonstrating that you are trying to resolve this peacefully. You're not sure how that will be interpreted. You're not sure how that will be interpreted in this fight. But as you kind of wrangle with this individual, you are demonstrating at the very least that you're trying to resolve this without coming to blows necessarily. Okay, so that is your action done. You do still have a bonus action. Now, for people who are new here and haven't played a ranger before, for example, we are using the companion rules for the Beast Mastery Ranger, where as a bonus action, you can command your owlbear companion, Alden, to do something. Basically attack. He could try and grapple as well if you wanted him to. Or you could use your bonus action to do something like a hunter's mark, things like that. What would you like to do as your bonus action? Apparently the vote is not popping up. Hang on. Twitch! There we go. So what would you like to do with your bonus action? Okay, so we've got one for Hunter's Marking target number 2. This will cause you to do more damage to them. Do nothing is also an option. It's a good point. Use poison bread. No, you don't have any poison bread either, I'm afraid. Can't just magic up some poison bread, unfortunately. But if you can convince people to spend enough time to whip up a poison batch in your next bit of downtime, you go for it. Okay, so choosing to do nothing as we move the combat forward. We are now on target number 4. So target number 4, this seems to be possibly like late teens, young man, scruffy haired, spotted beard, a little bit sunburnt around the ridge of the nose and across to the cheeks under the eyes, kind of looking very confused, looking very unsure and not confident at all in any kind of decision taking place. And they are actually going to hold their action to see, essentially, if anything comes to more violent circumstances. Which brings us to number 5, who, looking across, looks towards Akara High Shield, looks towards number 4. This one, however, a little bit more panicked than the rest. So this individual is going to use a Sacred Flame cantrip as this acolyte of some kind of deity, perhaps a student of either Matur or Akara, lets off one of these spouts of flame. So this is going to be on you, chat. So I need you to give me a dexterity saving throw. This is to see if you are fast enough to react to this to avoid the flames that begin to swell up around the grass beneath you and the stone and then erupt upwards towards you. See how fast you are to react. Your dexterity saving throw is, I believe, 8. There we go, yeah, because you're level 5 now. So closing the giveaway. Okay, Christian, give us our dexterity saving throw, please. +8 to the roll. Ooh. So very, very close. But not quite close enough. So you take from this 4 points of radiant damage. As these flames billow up from the ground and singe away at some of the exposed parts of your flesh in between sections of your armor. And you kind of instinctively look towards this area and you see that this person has summoned this flame from beneath you, and you know that they are responsible in this moment. That is their turn. So now we are on target number 3. Now that somebody has fired the first shot, this guard now moves up, threatening a longsword towards you and attempts to make an attack. So your armor class is currently 16. Let's see what this individual gets. Exactly what is necessary to hit you. So, fumbling as they are and unsure, uncertain of how to approach the situation, as the first shot, figuratively, is fired by this acolyte behind him, this guard moves forward and thrusts the blade towards you, and you take 4 points of damage. Oh, actually, no, sorry, 5 points of damage. Okay, we are now down at Alaric. Alaric is your wizard companion, and not one for pleasantries. Alaric is going to swivel around the side here. Yeah, to about here. Trying to get behind this bush a little bit, out of immediate line of sight, and is going to fire off a spell at one of these perpetrators of violence. So, with a firebolt, which does 2d10 damage, let's see if he hits. Okay, so managing to strike true, you watch as this firebolt arcs around this small bush, slams into this acolyte at the back, and they instantly fall to the ground. You do not know the state of their well-being, but you see them collapse to the ground in a pile of smoke. Okay. Where is this individual gone? Why do I not see you? There you are. Sorry, chat. I'm just making sure I put this in right. It's the first time using this tabletop. Okay, so this individual knocked out. We are now down at Roga, your total companion. Roga rushes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And is going to, following suit, try to restrain this individual. So Roga is going to roll a strength check. Okay, so Roga, first of all, gets a total of 16, contested by a 15 plus 1, so 16. So this is a draw. So I'm going to roll again. Roga gets 23, and the guard gets 4. Okay, so Roga successfully grapples this individual and pins them in place, grabbing around the top shoulder, underneath around the chest, pulling them up and lifting them off the ground to the point where essentially he is able to move this individual. Actually, I suppose he wouldn't be able to do that with his movement. He pulls this individual back and is attempting to pull him away from the combat itself. That is the turn done. We are now on Akara High Shield. So Akara is going to, again, let out this deep, long, drawn-out sigh of frustration and irritation. And then she reaches out towards this guard in front of her and casts a spell. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. It's going to be one of these. So it is a +8 to hit. That is, in fact, a hit. So Kara reaches out, almost dismissively places a hand on the shoulder of this individual as they look towards you, and you watch as the veins in this person's neck kind of pulsate momentarily, engorging themselves, and then you see as this black energy flows up through the veins, up into the face, and then this individual, their eyes roll back into the head and they collapse. Okay, so we are now back at the top of the round with you, chat. You have, at this point in time, reasonably subdued one of these guards. However, you still have another one of these acolytes towards the back, who now, watching this happen, having witnessed Akara High Shield cast a possibly deadly spell on this individual, is just freaking out. This individual's just backing up, stuttering. Why? I don't understand what's happening. Why are you doing this? So what do you do, chat? You have this individual to your right, who is currently grappled, and you have an individual in front of you, which is kind of staggering backwards, and in shock. I don't understand. What are you both doing? Why are we don't talk about cutting crotches. Don't make it weird. That's not cool. Okay, chat, what are you doing? Okay, so we currently have 2 votes for choking someone out with a bag of holding. That's dark. What else are we doing? Voting for grapple on 4. Okay, so a couple of ideas flitting through your mind. You instead decide to move forward and attempt to grapple this remaining acolyte. So I need another strength check from you, chat. So this is an athletics check, once again. Let me just check what the acolyte's strength is real quick. Understood. Okay, Falcon with another spirit bonus. Okay, so as you feel this spirit energy imbuing you with that little bit more strength, you hope that in this moment it will be just enough to do the job. Closing the giveaway. Okay, Infected Kitty, please give us our roll. This has a total of +5. Okay, so with a total of 12, let's see if this acolyte can resist. With a natural 20, unfortunately, in this moment, as scared as they are, that fear, that panic, as opposed to paralyzing this individual, seems to have made them incredibly aware of their surroundings, to the point where you only get within maybe a foot of this individual, but by the time they instinctively slap your hand out of the way, they almost trip backwards as they do so, but there is like this feeling of this individual at this point feeling less like a frightened rabbit and more like a cornered wolf. So you still have another attack left, so you can still try again, or you can choose your change your tactic to attacking. It's up to you. So what would you like to do with your second attack? Yeah, I'm just rolling abnormally well. So to be fair, though, it's probably better that that happens now. So what would you like to do, chat? Hey, Zach, thank you so much for the 18-month streak subscription. Hey, I appreciate that. 19-month total. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we have split votes right now. We go again. Okay, so that would be a vote for attempting another grapple. We have 2 votes for attacking with a sword. But it looks as though the grapple is going to win once again, so I need another strength check, chat. This is the individual still on the field here that has not been in some form restrained. I'm also going to put a marker on this individual, so this person is grappled. There we go. Okay, closing the giveaway. Christian, give us our roll, please. So again, this will still have a +5 from the spirit bonus. Oh, it's not looking good. So with a total of 8 on this second roll. Let's see what the acolyte gets. 8 as well. Okay, so in this circumstance, I determined that in order to avoid countless rerolls, if it's the player, then you win. So there is a moment where you're ducking and weaving from flailing arms, and you just manage to find the exact spot that you need to slip in and essentially wrestling tackle this person onto the ground, lifting them up, slamming them into the stone below. There's a fair amount of crunching, of scraping stone, rocks, gravel, moving around as this very impressive impact slamming into it on this pathway, and you manage to stop this individual from moving around too much. Now that you have these individuals grappled, I'm going to pause the initiative momentarily, and I just want to know, how are you going to restrain these individuals? Are you going to use rope? What is your plan here? You can look at your inventory to see if you have anything else. I don't think that you do, but you've been known to surprise me in the past. So what is your plan now? You have one of these individuals pinned to the ground. Roga has another one as well. Currently lifted up so as to remove any kind of central force to their mass. Okay, so you choose to use rope here to tie them up. We'll say that you do so on the cart that has been left behind. What I'm going to ask for here is a sleight of hand check to see how good your knots are. So how intricate your knots are and how well they serve the purpose of keeping these individuals here. Use a pin to keep on the ground. That works too, yeah. So this is going to be a sleight of hand check. See how good your sailor's knots are. Okay. So, closing the giveaway. Oh, did I not open it? Sorry, chat. I didn't open it. My bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. I pressed the wrong button. I'm so sorry. You can enter the giveaway now. I'd enter for you, but unfortunately, it's not how the system works. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so closing the giveaway here. Okay, Eternus, please give us our roll. Exclamation mark roll in the chat. Okay, so very nice here. So with a total of 21, you managed to tie these individuals up against the cart using pittons and other means to restrain them. And struggle as they may, you feel very confident that these individuals are not going anywhere until somebody comes to free them. However, as this has happened, you very quickly realize that due to the blows dealt by both Alaric and Akara High Shield, these two, this guard and this acolyte have unfortunately perished in the process. The blows that were dealt to them, perhaps they didn't expect them to be as deadly as they were. but they did so much damage to them in the means that was done through magical means and through potentially lethal magics nonetheless. They unfortunately have died. Akara does not seem terribly upset by this. Alaric seems a little shocked. You can see there's a moment where Alaric goes over to the body, kind of sniffs it, presses a paw up against the chest, lets out a fairly quiet sigh, and then just kind of walks away and seems to try and regain his focus. Give me a perception check, chat. I want to see if you notice him doing anything else. And this is also, I guess, will be for Akara as well. I am going to end the battle music. Okay. Okay, check bonus again from Herb. Understood. Okay, closing the giveaway here. So this has a massive total here. Let me just make sure I get this right. So our perception is +9, plus an extra 2 from Herb's check bonus, brings us to a +11 at level 5. So let's see who gets the dice roll here. Firefly. Okay, Firefly, hit us with a perception check, +11 to the result of the roll. Oh my, so with a 30, just a super chill 30 roll, no big deal. As Alaric does this, you can see a moment where, contrary to the memes, cats don't cry. But the way that his brow furls, the way that he kind of seems to very slowly remove his paw from the body, there's some degree of stifled regret. And you hear as he just kind of mutters under his breath, "Stupid kid." Akara, on the other hand, is basically just whistling behind you, waiting for you to do all of this, and seemingly inspecting her glove, seeing if there's any damage done to it, kind of tightening the laces on her boots. She could not give a single fuck about what just happened. Giving you some insight into her disposition. If anything, she seems to be getting increasingly impatient. So, you together, with some regrets, move the bodies back to the cart, slightly out of sight. You watch as Roga, in particular, your turtle companion, seems to be offering, best as they are able, some sincere attempt at apology. He is just trying with body language and the brief and the simple comment that he understands and knows, trying to apologize to these individuals that are dead, actually, not the ones who are currently still living. Some brief moment of obeisance, maybe, to some greater power and some fear and regret of what has happened. So, moving on then. All things considered, the current situation has been resolved. May not be in the way that you wanted it to, but now you are free to continue on your journey. So, as you said last session, your goal here is to head straight to the High Shield Estate. Let me switch to the Willowdale map here so you know where that is. There we go. So, the High Shield Estate up in the northeast. is where you're currently heading towards. At this point, I want to ask you, are you traveling quietly and stealthily, which will make you slower, but you will more likely to avoid detection or being noticed by any kind of locals nearby, any stragglers perhaps that are a little bit behind on the town meeting taking place? Or are you trying to move as fast as possible to get there quickly? As this may have some impact on how things play out. Okay, so we currently have 1 vote for stealthily, 1 for road trip, interesting timing, 1 for moving fast, and another 1 for just fast. So technically 2 for fast right now. That is on the board. Anybody else have an idea of how you think would be best to travel through this space? You have also taken a little bit of damage. It's up to you how you want to address that, if at all. Teleport, yeah, you don't have that. You do not have that. It may be worth taking a look at your abilities to determine whether or not you can do something. Much, much higher level, yeah. Most people never even get to the part of the game where you can teleport, actually. Just a quick reminder, so we're using D&D Beyond, which means that you can actually, if you're on desktop, if you're on a PC or a Mac or whatever, non-mobile, you can actually hover over the stream, and there's an overlay on the left side where you can access the character sheets for all of your current party. Okay, so you decide to move stealthily. So this will take some time. I need a stealth check from you, chat. So, opening the giveaway here. Feel free to get involved in that. Piece might need to refresh. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you might need to refresh because I changed category. That's a good point. Let me just check something real quick. Another check bonus. Okay, Christian deciding that as a group you could do with traveling as quietly as you possibly can. Also, I've forgotten that you have second level spells now, and I have not given them to you. So let me just give you second level spell. How many do you know? Add spell, you're going to take Pass Without Trace. Because it's like the best ranger spell in the game. And then also Lesser Restoration, possibly. No, we don't have that. Let's go with Spike Growth. Oh, you don't have enough spells. Okay, never mind. You can't do that. My bad. Just Pass Without Trace it is. Hello, Death Cleric! Welcome to the stream. Oh, no worries, Death Cleric. Hey, listen, we've got a couple of commands here which should get you kind of caught up. This is essentially what we're doing. And if you need a recap, there is the recap command. Welcome to the stream. Feel free to get involved in whatever way you're comfortable. It's very, very simple. And we'll be happy to get you involved as much as you feel you would like to be. So, moving stealthily, closing the dice giveaway here. Scion Crayon. Okay, Scion. Give us our stealth check here. So for you, your stealth bonus is plus 11. So you roll the 4 on the dice, plus 11, which means that you have a 15 total. So through the power... Oh, actually, and you had the check bonus as well, didn't we? So that brings it to plus 13? So yeah, with a lot, you travel through the forests, taking the lesser traveled paths around the south and then moving upwards north. And you're actually traveling a lot faster than you would ordinarily expect. But nonetheless, you as a group, let's still see how everybody else goes. Roga is struggling. Once again, seems to be picking up the slack here. Alaric doing okay. Alden doing fairly well, and then Akara doing excellently. As your group as a whole, you have to stop a couple of moments to help your good buddy Tortle, Roga, to avoid some pretty significant pitfalls, in some cases quite literal, as some of these pit traps have been laid around the forest for catching beasts. You streak through the forest, heading upwards, and it takes you about, at a slightly slower pace, 30 minutes to travel from the Windbrook Inn at the crossroads all the way up to the High Shield Estate to the northeast. Okay. So, let me move us over onto our next scene here. Give me 1 second. I'm really glad that you like the idea, Death Cleric. That's very cool. I'm always very happy to hear what people's thoughts are on the process, as it doesn't resonate with everybody, but it's been pretty fun so far, and people seem to be really enjoying it, especially for people who haven't been able to get involved in sessions since the pandemic. Okay. So, you find yourself grouped up outside the High Shield Estate. So, to give you a quick update, or recap rather, on the goal here, right? Your goal was to make a break for the High Shield Estate, with the Akara High Shield in tow, so that you could find some kind of means, apparently by magical scroll, to use more powerful magics than yourself, Akara, Alaric, are able to cast at the moment, to restore the groundskeeper to a state where their mental facilities have been returned to them. Unfortunately, it's not Eternus. I'm very, very sorry. Lie checks can only really be redeemed in the moment in which they happen. So, as you approach the gate, there are a couple of bits of information that are relayed to you by Akara High Shield. As this is essentially her home, she has some insight into what may lie in wait for you here. So, the first thing that she tells you as you get closer to the building is that, so, there are a couple of things we need to think about here. Now, I will admit, it's been a while since I was involved in planning any kind of defense of the keep itself. That was all something that I left to Mater, and he was glad to do. I don't really care that much about it, but now that we are in this situation, I sort of wish that I'd paid more attention. What I do know is that essentially, when we approach the gate and step onto the drawbridge, there is an alarm magic that has been set up, which will give us a false greeting. A Mater will appear to be calling down from the upper reaches, asking us to wait. However, that will in fact alarm him. Wherever he is in the town, he will know that we have arrived, or someone has arrived at the gate, and he will probably make haste to return here. So as soon as we step onto the drawbridge, we will have limited time to get the materials we need, possibly get back outside and use whatever we find on Matthias. So my question to you is, should we grab him now? Or should we save this matter for later and try to get inside first? So, what would you like to do, chat? Are you going to fetch Matthias, the groundskeeper, first? This apparently grossly deformed and manipulated adventurer, apparently possessing some kind of giant blood, causing them, due to experimentation from Mater High Shield, the perpetrator of so many ill deeds in this town, causing him to become like this. So you know that you know that Matthias, quote unquote, is incredibly large. You know that he would probably struggle to get inside the gate here. But that doesn't mean that there may not be another means of entering elsewhere. It's a difficulty. However, you do not know what will happen if you enter and you get stuck inside. Yes, so there's a little bit of a kind of toss up here. it may be a huge advantage to have another ally, especially one that may be as powerful as Matthias, especially with Matthias's mental facilities returned. But you don't know how useful it would be in the fact that they probably can't even get inside the keep. So, you know. I notice a special spell Akara has. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. You have picked up on a special magical item that she may have. So what are you doing here, chat? We currently have 1 vote for making trap for keeper. What is... You are a murder hobo, Eternus. It's confirmed. It's official. Get Matthias? Okay. Look for another way in. Yeah, you can definitely do that as well. Right now, let's look for a solution to our current situation. So, you head off towards the east, towards the cliffs, essentially, up above the shore, leading towards the ocean, where you know that there is a fairly sturdy barn that is relatively well kept, providing shelter for Matthias and his very large form. You wander down, and it's not long before you see that Matthias, after a pretty long day yesterday, is still sleeping. It's early morning. Nothing really has come of event apart from the ringing of bells in the distance and everything going on at the town meeting, which doesn't seem to concern Matthias at all. Does an alternate version of Rick Astley exist here? There's probably a bard somewhere called, like, Mick Rastley, but they're nowhere near her, I'm afraid. They're uncontactable right now. You'll have to get in touch with the agent. So you find Matthias sleeping in this barn, and you rouse him from this slumber. Doesn't take long. He looks up to you. There's a moment of fear, but then recognition of you and the deeds that you had done to rescue Matthias previously from a pack of wolves definitely seem to have had some kind of lasting impact on your relationship. And you're thankful in this moment that you had done that, as you don't know what would have happened otherwise. So you fetch Matthias and you bring him back towards the gates. You are now at this point in time keenly aware that Matthias is far too large to fit inside the gate. If he was to try and slip inside, he would have to condense his form to the point where he would be barely able to move and probably would be more of a hindrance than any kind of use inside such an enclosed space. Though, as you look up, this keep does have several floors, and it's possible that looking around immediately, the only thing you can think for him to do is to climb up and over and wait for you there. If you want to try and walk around and find another means, you can do so. So up to you here, chat. What would you like to do? You can take a look around, look for another entrance into the area, or you can simply proceed towards the gate and start off this chain of events. What would you like to do? You could also just say that he stays here. That's also fine. So I'll say while we're thinking of what we're going to do, Akara starts to regale you with a couple more details. So what she does know is that whenever Matur has teleported back to the estate when this alarm is set off, it takes him to a small sanctum on the top layer of the building itself. So there are, let me just double check this so I don't say it right. There are essentially 4 floors. to this keep, and he will be going to the top floor when he returns. The magic that he has a means to connects him to a specific area on the top floor. So when he chooses to, he will be pulled magically from his current location on his command from where he is to the top floor of the keep. So you will not have a lot of time before, if he chooses to, he will be here, but he will be much higher up in the building than you. Can we set a trap? If you have time. You have time. But the question then would be, how would you get to the top floor without setting off the alarm? I guess would be the difficult question. Unless you waited for him somewhere and hope that he went downstairs, I guess. That's also a question. Akara also says that although she loathes to use this magic so early, the cape that she currently has, this deep red cape lined with areas of gold, allows her to teleport herself and one other willing individual inside the castle to a location of your choice. Now, she is suggesting that you use this to get towards the locked room towards the back of the first floor to grab the scroll that will help to restore Matthias. But you could obviously propose a different solution. While you're thinking about that, I will open the dice giveaway and we will do a perception check as you start looking around for an alternate means of entering the building. Okay, Herb with another bonus. Thank you very much. Okay, closing the giveaway. Cyan Crayon, again, please give us our roll. So this will have a total of... We should double check. So everything's changed now with level 5. 16. 16 plus 11 brings it to 27 total. A massive roll. So as you take a look around, there seem to be areas of the stonework which are a little bit worn to the point where you wonder if somebody with enough strength might be able to break through the wall to create your own entrance. It takes some pretty rigorous going over the structural integrity of the building. But as you're kind of taking a look around, you actually kind of wade through the water momentarily, swing to the other side so as to not trigger the alarm. It seems as though on the right side of the keep, on the right side of the keep, there is a weakened wall towards the back. Akara tells you that this leads into the kitchen, which is near to where you need to go, but she doesn't know if breaking the wall will have any kind of effect on the alarm set. So this is definitely an option for you. But once again, if you break the wall, you get inside, it doesn't necessarily help you with the situation that once Matthias is inside, it still won't be easy for him to move around. In this moment, you're kind of considering the fact that it would be great to have such an ally, and in any other fighting environment, it would probably be almost immeasurably useful. But in this specific circumstance, it's sort of like the wrong tool for the job. So, what's your plan here? As said before, Akara High Shield does have the means to teleport herself and one more person inside. That would mean that you could bypass the alarm, but it would just be the two of you and nobody else. So what I need at this point is some kind of action that you're going to take. To give you a recap, the three options that you have basically uncovered so far is one is simply to trigger the alarm, try and get through the gate and hope for the best. The other is to teleport inside with Akara and do as much as you can and hope that it doesn't set off an alarm. And the next option is to have Matthias break down the kitchen wall towards the rear of the keep. Matthias throws us across bridge. You could try it. But you don't have any real confidence that that would work. It's not the worst idea. But you also have to remember, Matthias, at this point in time, does not seem to properly understand instructions. Don't stop saying teleport. Listen, people can vote for whatever they want. That's how the game works. Okay, so you opt to teleport inside using Akara Highshield's cape. The two of you bracing yourselves. She kind of closes her eyes for a second, grabs onto your shoulder quite tightly, and then bringing up the cloak, you both disappear in a puff of smoke as she dimension doors you towards the rear room. As your allies are currently inside. So, you appear in a reasonably small room, a 15 by 15 foot square. Towards the back. Let me just change the ambient track. Okay. So, as you enter, you realize there are no windows. You enter into what is otherwise complete darkness. Thankfully, because of your dark vision, you are able to see more or less everything as your eyes adjust in shades of gray. You are surrounded by weapon racks, barrels, and one particular chest that Akara immediately starts leaning down towards. In terms of exits from this room, you have a door to your left, a door to your right, and also a door which you presume leads back towards the gate. Thank you, Falcon. See, I remembered. You didn't even have to tell me. So, what would you like to do? She informs you that, as far as she is aware, the most powerful of the spell scrolls that they keep, they're all locked down here in this particular chest. In this small armory. Obviously, you don't have to do that straight away. It is up to you. At this point in time, you are not aware of any kind of alarm that has been set off. So, as far as you're aware, you are in here and no ill event has come about. You have these two doors, one left, one right, and one behind you, leading back towards the gate. As you can see here. Check for traps. Okay, chat, I need an investigation check from you. What's it gonna be? Who gets to decide? Now, bear in mind, if you roll low, that doesn't mean that you have fucked up, that there is a trap, but it will be described in such a way that you are not sure whether or not it is. It is inconclusive either way. Okay, Bean, thank you for the check bonus. I'm going to bring up the ambience a little bit. It's a bit quiet to me. Okay. So, closing the giveaway. Christian, give us our dice roll, please. I believe this has a +4. I'll double check. Okay, investigation +4. So this brings it to a total of 6, 11. So as you take a moment, you realize that Akara is reaching down towards the chest. You kind of place your hand on her back and then motion for her to step away from it. And then you yourself switch places with her and inspect the chest. Here we go. Playing a little bit of jigsaw there. Leaning down, you check it. You see that there is a key lock. You do not currently have the key on you. Apparently, she does not currently have the key on her either. So this is something that you will have to pick. And as you inspect it, you do not see any obvious signs of any kind of trap inside or on the casing of the chest itself. You don't know if that is conclusive or not, but as best as you're able to tell, there is nothing. Okay, opening the giveaway. What would you like to do? It is very clearly currently locked, so you will need to pick this lock if you want to get in, or you will need to force it open by other means, like a crowbar, for example. Is the chest a mimic? Not that you can't tell. With your investigation check, you don't think it's a mimic, but it's possible. It's very hard to tell that something is a mimic before it is unveiled to you, as they are otherwise almost indistinguishable from ordinary items. So you choose to pick the lock. I need a sleight of hand check, please, chat. Or rather, this would not be a sleight of hand check. Sorry, I sometimes get that mixed up. I need a Thieves' Tools check. You're not proficient in them, so you just have a +5 to the roll. Matt knows something. About what? We'll never know, but he definitely knows something. Okay, closing the giveaway. Okay, Eternus. +5 to the roll. Let's see if you can pick this lock. Okay, so with a total of 15, you managed to successfully pick this lock without breaking your tools and without causing damage to the lock itself. However, as you open the chest, you see a brief flash of the arcane, a sliver of white in the crack as you begin to lift the lid. Nothing bad happens. There is no explosion, no harm is done to you. But something has happened. You just don't know exactly what. As you look backwards, nothing in your environment has changed immediately. Akara apparently wasn't paying attention. So it only takes a couple of seconds. This eerie silence of the interior of this building, devoid of natural light. You hear something behind you, and then to your left, and then to your right. These doors that you see surrounding this room, exits and entrances, you notice something immediately about them. They do not have keyholes. But you hear clicking sounds from each one of them. What would you like to do? You're aware that as the result of this... Oh, sorry, wrong thing. Let me fix that real quick. Something has happened. You don't know what. Unfortunately, you cannot teleport again. This is a once-a-day item that has been used to get you in here. Funny you should say that, Matthew. Because that's never happened on stream before. I definitely didn't say that last week. Nope. Not me. Okay, so currently we have 1 vote for Cry. That's free. But it is difficult. We have 1 for Warp. Unfortunately, Warp is not an option at this point in time. You do not have the ability to warp in any form. You do have a break a door command. You have a break a door vote, sorry. In this circumstances, you don't know what has happened. I'll say for simplicity to move things forward, as you check the doors, you can tell that they are all locked. But there are no keyholes. So what do you do? You've very clearly been locked in this room. Opening this chest has triggered some kind of magical effect that you would assume at this point has caused this to happen. What I'll say is as you move towards the doors to check them out, Akara High Shield once again switches place with you. She looks through the scrolls, and she pulls one out. Wrapped up, seems to have a seal on it, as it is wax bound. Or sorry, it is ribbon bound with a wax seal, which seems to indicate what this scroll might be. And she kind of just looks to you. Well, I've done my part. You going to get us out of here then? What are you doing? Not to pressure you here, chat, but I need something. We need some kind of action here to take. Time may not be literally ticking, but figuratively it absolutely is. Break door? Okay, so you move towards the door in an attempt to break it. I'm actually going to put some music on here. As this moment arises and you realize that you have limited time to try and resolve the current situation, you attempt to break the door. So pulling out a crowbar to try and lever it open, I need a strength check from you with advantage. As you try and essentially unhinge it to the point where you'll be able to push it down. Exclamation mark dice to enter the giveaway. And we'll see if you're able to get through this first door without event. Crowbars do exist? Yes, and you do have one in your inventory. That's a good question. Which door are you breaking? I'm assuming it's the one at the bottom. But just for confirmation, is it left, right, or bottom here that you're breaking open? I will close the giveaway in a few moments. Vote right. Okay, okay. We've got 2 for the right door here. Okay, so right it is then. Closing the dice giveaway here. Okay, Falcon. Hit us with our roll, my friend. You have advantage. You have a +3. Okay, so with a 14 total, you manage to relieve this first door of the hinges using this specially designed tool. You push the door open just enough. It's crooked. It hangs on one hinge still, but it's not so much of an obstruction that you can't slip through, and you find yourself in a very small room, again, a 15-foot cube, where you see... Oh, hang on, you're going right side. My bad, you're on this side. You find yourself in, as you were told, some kind of kitchen area. This room, however, unfortunately, does not have another door that leads out of it. This is the singular door in and out of this chamber. So what do you do? You are now in what is very clearly the kitchen that was briefly described to you by Akara Highshield as this weaker stone area that you could essentially have Matthias break through, possibly. What's that one? Okay, so one thing you begin to hear as the situation develops is a faint grinding of metal gears and what you imagine might be the straining of cables coming from further down towards the entrance into the keep itself, past this door and past further into the corridor beyond. So what are you doing? You are, at this point, I would assume, aware that whatever thing you have triggered is time sensitive. And you'll need to find a solution quickly, or you may not be able to open the gate to let your allies in. Okay, so we have one vote for go bottom door. We have one vote for burn keep. They're technically tied. So you'll need to figure out exactly what you want to do as a group. Go bottom door. Hello, Inochi. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so you decide to move down towards the southernmost door, and in the process attempt to repeat the process of breaking it down to try and find more information on the other side of it. So another dice giveaway here as we do another strength check with advantage to try and open this door. So you can enter with exclamation mark dice, which enters you into a giveaway lottery. And if you are the person selected by the dice roll bot, you will roll the dice and your name will come up screen with a number next to it. And that's how we will determine the outcome of what we're doing. Okay, closing the giveaway. Onochi, there you go. Okay, Onochi, exclamation mark roll in the chat to roll the dice for us. This will have a +3 to whatever number comes up. We will be rolling with advantage. Oh, okay, so thanks to Falcon and the check bonus, it will be a +5. Oh, what is it with new rollers and getting natural 20s? What the heck? Okay, Inochi with a natural 20. I'm not even going to roll the second dice. Forget the second dice. It doesn't get any better. So, having unhinged the first door, you know the exact spot to stick this crowbar to get it clean off the hinges as quickly as possible. You relieve both hinges, and then you just kick the door down and stride confidently into the next door. The next room, sorry. So let me reveal the square. You are confronted with a room in which there are, again, 3 doors. One very clearly leads back into the corridor that leads towards the gates. However, there is also a door on the left and to the right. Akara Highshield following behind you, as you are now in this new space. She points out the obvious to you as what you've just realized. You now begin to hear that this gate mechanism further on is beginning to strain. So you are now absolutely confident at this point that your time is running short, but you are making pretty good progress towards this next one. And you know what? Because I'm feeling incredibly generous, I'm going to say with a natural 20, this next roll is not going to count as another round in combat. So I'm going to do another giveaway here for breaking down this door, but the progress of this mechanism changing to a new situation will not be accelerated by doing this action, as you did it so perfectly during the last time. So exclamation mark dice to enter, and we'll see what you get on this next strength check. Falcon with another check bonus. This man wants to escape from the keep. Very good. Okay. Closing the giveaway. Anochi again. Okay, Anochi, please give us another roll. This will technically be with advantage, so we'll have 2 rolls here, unless it's another natural 20, which could happen. Okay, so with a total of +5 brings us to 16. So still a very healthy roll. 16 is our baseline. So because we have advantage, we roll twice, and we take the higher number. It cannot go lower than a 16 now. So feel free to enter into the dice giveaway once again. As any roll that has advantage, we roll 2 times, and we take the higher result. Just as with disadvantage, we roll twice and take the lower one. So feel free to jump in there. You can roll as many times as you want. There's no limit on how many times you can enter the giveaways. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It's very kind of you, Anochi, though, to give somebody else a chance. I appreciate that. Closing the giveaway. Okay, Herb. Herb with a +5 to the roll. Let's see if you can beat a 16. Okay, so it's not higher than a 16. It's not far behind. But even still, you managed to pretty deftly remove another door from the hinges and burst through. You now are starting to make a sprint for the gate to make your exit. You are now aware. You can see the trembling of the gate mechanism above you. You can tell that probably within about 10 seconds or so, this gate is going to essentially lock in place, and whatever cables and mechanisms are holding it in place above that would be responsible for both closing and opening the gate itself are possibly going to break and make it so that this gate cannot be opened to let your allies in, and you'll have to find another way of entering into the building. So what is your plan here? Are you going to rush outside, or are you going to try and get your allies in? Obviously, you've gotten the scroll that you think you need to relieve Matthias. The Matthias is too big to get inside this door. So you basically have to make a choice right now as to whether or not you're going to leave and use this magic to try and restore his mind, or whether or not you are going to stay in here and find it. Well, you could stay inside, or you could leave and find another way, right? You have another way. You know you can bust in through the kitchen. Leave, get out. Okay, cool. So you all decide to rush out of the gate. However, in doing so, you very clearly set off the initial alarm, and you hear calling from above on the higher levels in an almost identical way the voice of Mater Highshield saying, sorry, 1 second, I'll be right there. Obviously, from prior conversations, you know that this is an automatically triggered response of some kind of auditory illusion that has been left here to buy time for individuals that may show up unannounced. So, if the first alarm did not notify Mater Highshield that you or somebody is here, he definitely knows now, as you have stepped over the drawbridge. Okay. So, within a matter of moments, you hear the, at this point seems inevitable, grinding of gears, springs coming loose, and cables snapping as whatever mechanism is responsible for opening this portcullis, this gate, is broken, and there is no longer an ordinary means of opening it. So I am going to stop this combat music, as you are now back outside. You are panting, you're both short on breath. As you rush out, Akara slows to a halt. Well, all things considered, it may not have gone perfectly, but we got what we needed, and just kind of waves this scroll around in the air. A little too proud of herself, perhaps. So, you, Cat, I'm assuming you have some arcane capability. This is a Greater Restoration Scroll. Now, I'm assuming that neither of us have the means to cast this spell ordinarily, but both of us could make our attempt. So, Grand Leader, Valandria, which one of us should it be? So, chat, are you going to have Akara or Alaric use the Greater Restoration Scroll on Matthias? Martin Freeman? I can see it. A much older Martin Freeman, maybe. A more weathered version. Mustached. He's pretty weathered now. I haven't seen him outside of a movie scenario, and obviously he's got like makeup teams and shit, so. Is it going to be using intelligence? It's going to be using the caster's native spellcasting modifier. So if Akara uses it, it'll be wisdom. If Alaric uses it, it will be intelligence. The kid who used fire? Well, Alaric likes fire, but Alaric is a cat. Not a kid. As far as you're aware, a fully grown adult trapped in a cat's body. Though you haven't really asked too many questions to know if that's true. Okay, so you choose to have Akara cast the spell. Alaric surprisingly doesn't seem insulted. Doesn't seem to be terribly insecure in this circumstance. Doesn't know if Akara can even be trusted. Like it's not some kind of elaborate trap. So he seems more than willing to give up this honor of using this spell scroll, relieving him of the anxiety of what happens if he fails. Okay, so let me just double check this, because I haven't used a spell scroll in a while. I just want to make sure I'm doing this fairly. Ability check using your spellcasting ability to determine whether you can successfully. The DC equals 5 plus the spell's level. Okay, cool. So, for the drama, the way that this is going to work is that Akara needs to roll a total of 15 to cast this spell successfully. Now, her spellcasting modifier is +5. So she needs to roll a 10 or higher on the dice. Anything lower means that the spell scroll is lost and is wasted. So, 10 or higher. Let's see what happens. So, Akara unravels the scroll, breaking the wax seal, and begins to read from it. The spell scroll itself, the writing begins to disappear in flashes of arcane as if they are being sparked out word by word, receding up towards the top of the page, and you watch as the words seem to appear and float out from the page towards Matthias, circling around him, and then creating almost like this bubble-like shield around him of all of these words that have been read. This incantation taking place and taking form. And then very, very suddenly, you watch as some kind of arcane energy begins to coalesce inside Matthias. You can see the gaps in old wounds, in scars, in areas of the eye. They begin to glow with this arcane light. And then all of a sudden, this shell around him shatters. The light kind of bursts outwards in a single flash. And Matthias momentarily falls backwards onto the ground with this loud thud. A few moments pass, however, when you're all kind of worried about what the fuck just happened, before you hear this groaning sound. And then Matthias sits up, placing an arm to support himself as he does so on the ground, and then another one pulling at the leg to pull his upper torso and everything that comes with it up into an upright position. It seems as though Matthias is somewhat confused. Give me an insight check, chat, to see how he seems to be responding, how well he seems to be handling this change in circumstances. So something has definitely changed. The question now is how much of Matthias's ability has been returned to him. Okay, closing the giveaway. Okay, Anochi. Anochi, please give us another roll. This will be with a +7, I think. Let me just double check. Insights. +6. Oh, 24 total. Is Matthias a huge creature? Yes. Matthias is, for all intents and purposes, a giant. Unfortunately, malformed by some kind of experimentation. This experiment that took place, reawakening some kind of giant lineage deep down in his ancestry, and causing his body to be enlarged and incredibly distorted. Yeah, he is big boy. Giant blood firefly, that sounds fucking terrifying. Okay, so with this insight check, you see a little bit of recognition mixed in with the confusion, but then there's this moment where Matthias puts his hand on his knee and then spends a lot of time lingering his gaze on it, and then raises the hand looking at it. And you can see his body language shifts slightly. There is this shaking to his form, this shock kind of overcoming him. And you're seeing that, unfortunately, due to the damage done from this experimentation, you can tell that there are tears swelling in his eyes, but the tear ducts are damaged, and he is struggling to actually kind of perform that kind of bodily function in his current state. Although the spell has relieved his, at least some of the mental impairment that had been forced upon him, it has had no effect on curing whatever experiment took place on him. This lasts for some time. You're kind of unsure exactly how you want to approach the situation, but if there's anything that you want to do to perhaps try and relieve this air of sorrow, then obviously feel free to do that. I've opened up the poll. I'm very, very quickly just going to take a toilet break, so feel free to discuss amongst yourselves if there's anything you would like to do to try and bring Matthias back towards the senses. For the time being, it will make more sense that I know that we have been referring to Matthias as Matthias, but you are now aware that Matthias is actually called Lazaro. So I will be using that name going forward. Okay, so you offer a hug. I'm not going to get you to roll a check for this. So you kind of move slowly over to Lazaro, and you kind of awkwardly shuffle forward, not sure what part to hug exactly. First, you kind of place an arm on his kind of tricep area, on his upper arm itself. You kind of place your hand there, and you just kind of like rub it a little, and then you sort of move in for like the side hug, only able to get around, like your hands only get to about halfway across his left pectoral. It doesn't get very far, but Lazaro just kind of lets out a sob, and seems as though he's raising a very large hand to try and like place it on you, but then again looks at this hand, realizing how large and deformed it is, and then just slowly lowers it to the side. But you hear the shifting sound as he begins to stand up to his feet, and you almost immediately notice this change in his disposition. As previously he had this very kind of low-hanging slouch to his posture. It's a little bit straighter at this point in time. There's definitely some kind of physical impairment that's stopping him from standing completely straight. But there is this kind of awareness about him. Let's get that damn cage. Oh, just so you're aware, the cage is not on his back at the moment. You didn't bring him out from the barn with the cage on. Sorry, I didn't clarify that, so that's maybe on me. Just this is the image of the picture. So he stands up, and he's towering a good 25 feet above you. At this point in time, he is massive. Whatever giant blood was awakened in him was so potent in this experimentation that it caused him to be, for all intents and purposes, giant-like in his appearance and stature. So he seems to try to communicate with you, but the words come out very sort of slurred and impaired. It definitely seems as though it is going to be difficult, if not painful, for him to try and communicate with you verbally. But you can tell that there's enough awareness there now that he is able to understand the things that you say. So he kind of looks down towards you expectantly, looks down towards Akara High Shield, and then raises a giant fist. And you can tell what's about to happen. He is about to slam this fist down on her incredibly hard. She notices this too, and she seems to be coalescing some kind of magic in her fist in retaliation. What do you do, if anything? You could just let it happen. But he seems to immediately recognize her and hold her responsible, possibly for what happened to him. Clearly not aware of any kind of agreement between the two of you. So are you going to try and intervene, or are you going to try and maybe let this play out and see what happens? Let the adults figure out their own problems. No, it is not Eternus. I don't want to bring real-life problems into my game that I play for escapism. Okay, so you choose to intervene. All right, so for this, I'm going to say I need an intimidation check. So I'm opening the giveaway as you try and shout these individuals down in this moment. Not enough time to have a lively discussion but you're trying to very suddenly stop these two individuals from getting into a confrontation. So the dice giveaway is open. You will have a +3 to the roll because we will be using your strength instead of your charisma. Like the power of your voice and your stature and your commanding presence. Understood, Matt. Understood. I will keep that in mind moving forward. Wouldn't want my content to be unrelatable, you know? That's the last thing I want. Okay, Falcon with another check bonus. Thank you very much, Falcon. So this will add an extra 2, so +5 to whatever this dice roll result is. Closing it now. Okay, Herb. Herb, give us our roll, please. Okay, that's fast. So with a total of 17, you very quickly exclaim, very loudly and quickly exclaim for these two people to stop. And as they instinctively, with this yell, hold their blows, you manage to talk both of them down, telling them not to be ridiculous, that there are more important things underway. Even within this circumstance, any time that you waste fighting each other, Mature could be setting up some kind of ambush for you upstairs. So you're keenly aware of this. And although Lazaro seems to have been out of sorts for some time, probably doesn't understand the situation fully, seems to trust you enough to the point where a grunt and nod of acknowledgement is enough that you feel safe, at the very least, right now, that there's not going to be an immediate conflict. Okay. Hello, Saf. Great to see you. How are you doing? There is Saf. So we have the D&D Beyond overlay on. I'm not sure if you're on mobile or not. But if you're on laptop or whatever, you can hover over the stream and use the D&D Beyond on the left side to access the character sheet. Mouse over the egg? Exactly. Okay. Brilliant. So, you now have a new problem. You are aware that Mature High Shield probably knows that you are here, right? He knows that you know he knows, possibly you're not sure. At any rate, the gate is now, as far as you can tell, slammed shut and cannot be opened by conventional means. You do also know that there is the weakened wall around the back right of the building towards the kitchen where you could break it open and enter through there. So what is your plan of approach here? Opening the poll. You assumedly want to get back inside, but the choice is yours. You are at this point now aware it's very likely, if Mature has any suspicions whatsoever, he has probably teleported to the upper floors. I'm afraid that is not going to happen, Eternus. As much as you may want that to happen, possibly in the near future, I can assure you that such individuals do not have wasp allergies. Not that it's unrealistic, just that that's not what's happening. Can Lazaro rip the gate open? Possibly, yeah. You could try and force the door open to the point where you'd be able to enter inside. What is your plan? We got smash kitchen and check gate. Melt the gates. I'm afraid you have nothing currently on your person to do that. You also don't know how sturdy the gate is necessarily. Okay, so you choose to check the gate. I need an investigation check from you, chat. As you move up to the gate and take a good look at it, let's see what you're able to tell about it and what you may be able to do. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, D&D is special because you have so much choice available to you. I'm obviously not going to railroad you to the point where you can't make up your own choices, but I'm not going to suddenly invent new things based on what people want, necessarily. Unless it's very important that I do so, obviously, because there may be cases where that is important. Okay. Closing the giveaway. Falcon 1666. Give us our investigation check. +4 to the roll. Okay, so with a total of 15. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Taking a look at the gate, you can see no more signs of any kind of like trap or mechanism set up to deter you. However, as you're giving it a going over, you can very clearly see that threaded between planks of wood that make up this gate and reinforcing areas of it, there are very clearly bars of some kind of material. As you take a good look at it, the coloration and the gleam on it seems to indicate that the bars reinforcing this gate are at the very least laced with adamantine. And adamantine is an incredibly hard metal to break. So breaking this is not impossible, but would most likely take a very long time. However, as you check, it doesn't seem that the gate is necessarily locked in place. It's just so overwhelmingly heavy that an ordinary person would not be able to lift it. An ordinary person wouldn't be able to. So what do you do? The voting is open. Hello, Shadow. I see you with the shaky eyes. But we are not ordinary. You have quite an odd bunch of allies down here. As you can see. Lazaro is no ordinary guy. Factual. Not anymore, anyway. Attempt to lift. Okay. Give me an athletics check, chat. As you move over towards the gate and realize this is possible, you yourself instinctually squat down, getting yourself in the perfect position to attempt to lift this gate. You're relatively strong. You're much stronger than most. And also, you're empowered by the spirits, according to Shadow Squared. Thank you very much, Shadow. Okay. So. Give me a second here. Closing the giveaway. Okay, Shadow Squared. Shadow! You showed up just in time. Hits with a dice roll. You have a total of +5 to the roll. Oh, it's kind of fucking big. 24. Okay, so as you squat down, bracing yourself in the perfect position to attempt to lift this gate, you begin to tense your muscles, tensing your back, tightening your core, and you begin to press down through your ankles and lift with your arms, doing your absolute best, almost the most that you could possibly imagine, to elevate the bottom of this gate to the point where your allies might be able to squeeze through. It actually begins to tremble ever so slightly. You can see it's lifting a couple of centimeters off the ground. You start to hear a loud thumping from behind you as the ground begins to shake. There's a moment of fear, but you realize at this point, you can't really let go without undoing all your hard work. And you watch over your left shoulder an enormous hand grasp onto the gate in the middle section and begin to lift, giving you just enough extra support that you're able to lift this gate upwards to the point where people can roll underneath as Matthias has reached over you and begun to help you lift it. So, with that, your allies tumble underneath the gap afforded inside the building. Akara is the last to pass in, looks to you, looks at the fact that she'll have to essentially roll down on the ground, just looks down to you, kind of tuts and goes, "Really?" And then kind of scuttles underneath. Matthias, however, 1 foot now kind of bracing against the rock to the side of the gate, unable to really get a proper footing on this narrow bridge, is obviously very aware that you are unable to... Sorry, that he is unable to actually squeeze through this entrance, and motions for you with the other free hand to go through under the gap, placing this free hand then now on the gate and holding it in place as you pass underneath. Okay, I can't fit everybody into this room, so I'm going to have to filter people out. Here, 1 second, as you move up. There we go. Your allies now in this space, in this tight corridor. Lazaro looks to you expectantly. Obviously, he realizes he can't fit inside. So, you could ask... Oh, sorry, Lazaro. We've got to keep calling him Lazaro now. His name's... Call him by his real name. Lazaro, aware that he is unable to enter. What would you like Lazaro to do? Well, I've been saying that name for like 2 months now. It's hard to get it out of my head. So obviously, Lazaro could wait for some kind of signal. Or could attempt to enter through the kitchen area where there's a weakened wall. Again, the problem being that even if he manages to get in through this rear area here, he can't maneuver throughout the keep on this level, at least, because he can't get through the doors. He'd be smashing every wall to get into every room. So while it is a possibility, you're risking structural integrity to the building, which means it could collapse on you, and also you're making a lot of noise. So something that you should bear in mind. Okay, so aware at this point that Lazaro is able to comprehend more complex ideas, you discuss this idea with your allies as well, that Matthias seems as though Lazaro seems as though he would be able to climb up to the top of the keep, but you are also aware that in doing so, he may be directly confronting with Matur alone, if Matur is up top there. So he is to wait down on this level, out of sight, best as he is able, until you give the cue for him to climb the side of the building. To which he nods, and then he kind of dips down into the water, and then actually hides under the bridge, like a bridge troll. It's not flattering, but it is effective. Okay. So, you all now in this upper room, or further in, you're in the central chamber. Where would you like to go first? Now, there is a door on the left. There is a door up top that you've been through where the crate was that had all of the scrolls in it. From there are 2 more doors. And there's a door also to your right. So my question at this point in time is, which door are you going through first? So you have left, right, top, or bottom. And we can kind of take it step by step. To the left, to the left. Okay. Okay. Okay, closing the poll then. So you move over to the left door. You notice that this door, again, is locked. There is no keyhole. There is no handle. It seems to be a door that either swings open or is locked closed. At this point in time, because of the defensive mechanisms that you set off earlier by opening the chest, it is currently locked. So you're unable to see through it, and you're unable to pick the lock to unlock it ordinarily. So you will have to force the door. So give me another athletics check. No pee-hole. No pee-holes to be seen. It's almost like, in order to avoid the situation that happened last session, I removed every single keyhole from every single door in the universe. Imagine that. No, that's not why. That's not actually why. I promise. What the hell happened last session? Well, there's a clip. There's a clip. Somebody could probably find it. You're a vengeful god? Yep. Okay, closing the giveaway. Okay, Bean. Hit us with the roll. So this is a +3 to the roll. Thank you, Firefly. Knew I could count on you. Okay, so Bean with a 17. You do have advantage, so we can roll again. However, it's already enough to open the door, but we'll roll it again just in case you get like a really crazy roll, which may change the circumstances. So 17 is our baseline here. Feel free to enter the giveaway again as we're rolling with advantage because we're using a crowbar. I'll give the second one away pretty quickly here, just so we can move it on. So closing the giveaway. Okay, Firefly, give us our second strength check, please. This is with a +3. Let's see what we get. Okay, so pretty much the same results here. So with a 17 from the previous roll, you move up towards the door. You plant the crowbar between the hinges and the wall once again, and you manage to once again pry it off. However, as you do this, as you loosen the door to the point where you're able to slip through, you notice immediately two things out of the ordinary in this room. Which is, other than 2 doors and a weapon rack, completely featureless stone brick. 2 swords seem to have alleviated themselves from the weapon rack and are, at this point in time, hovering in the air. And as you open this door with the crowbar, forcing your way in, they immediately snap into an almost frozen position, blades pointed towards the door, and then begin soaring through the air towards you. So I need you to roll initiative as we enter combat. Also, I've had the wrong ambience on, but that's fine. Okay, closing the giveaway for our initiative roll. This has a +5 to it from you. Firefly. Okay, Firefly, what's our roll here? Okay, so a total of 9. Okay, let me just add these to the combat tracker. Okay, so as this combat breaks out with both yourselves and these 2 swords noticing you at the same time, these swords start combat first. Okay, so this first sword streaks across the room, attempting to impale you as it breaches the door frame. It has a +3 to hit. Your AC is 16. Natural 20. Okay, so the sword flies through, and there's a moment where you're actually aware it's flying to the point where it is going to pierce straight between your eyes. You just managed to duck out of the way. However, it cuts all the way across the side of your forehead, and you're wondering if you might have just almost lost an eye. As you take 9 points of damage. Okay, we are now on the second sword, which is going to attempt to do the same. Goes up and then seems to gain a bit of momentum and then very suddenly dart downwards at about a 45-degree angle, attempting to stab down into your shoulder. Does not hit you, however, as it streaks down, slams into the stone beside you, and then kind of arcs around and then begins to flank you on your left-hand side. So, it is now your turn, chat. What would you like to do? Also, I have this thing over here. So, for people who are unfamiliar, I should have done this earlier. Where is it? Here it is. Beautiful. So, this is a quick infographic that will show you the things that you can do in combat and the fact that you can do them in pretty much any order that you want to. So being aware of that, you have your action, your bonus action, and your movement, and you can take those in any order that you would like. However, the order may affect how effective those things are. What would you like to do first, chat? You have 2 targets in front of you. You can attack if you would like. What would you like to do first? You have 1 sword hovering in front of you, having nearly taken out your eye. You have 1 sword to your left. You are, at this point in time, the focus of these attacks. I should move Roga in here as well, actually. What are you doing? Any voters in chat? Are we flanked? Yes. Yes, you are flanked. I don't use flanking rules, though. I don't use the optional flanking rules. I use it more of as a narrative thing. So what are we doing here, chat? Movement. Okay, so just so you are aware, for transparency, if you choose to move at this point in time, tumbling backwards through your allies, you will leave yourself open to an attack from both of these creatures again, as they use their reactions to attack you. So you can move. Oh yeah, I'll hide the thing again. Thank you. You can move to get out of the way, which will protect you against further attacks later on in the fight. However, if you move away now, you will take essentially 1 round of attacks instantly as you move away. So remember, you can specify a target, as some people have done already. Thank you very much. So we got 2 for attacking target number 1. Okay, 3, 4 for attacking target number 1. Okay. Are you attacking with your bow or with your sword, chat? Obviously, if you attack with your bow, you have a higher attack bonus, but because it's close to you, you have disadvantage on the roll. So weigh that up. Attacking with your sword, lower attack bonus, but you don't have disadvantage on the roll. Okay, so you pull out your short sword. Give me an attack roll, please, chat. For attack number 1, you do get 2. Oh! Okay, hang on. Hang on a second. We have an attack bonus. That's okay, Shadow. Could a mod please refund Shadow's points, please? Okay, so your short sword, you have a +8 to attack. Feel free to enter the dice giveaway. The dice giveaway is open for the attack roll. It's okay, Shadow. It happens. They all look kind of similar. I'm going to give them different icons pretty soon so that it's easier to tell. We all big dum-dums. Okay, remember you can enter the giveaway to do the attack roll. Sword on sword action. Exactly, Onochi. Exactly. Some classic sword fighting. Thank you very much, Firefly. Okay, closing the giveaway. Okay, Onochi, please give us our first attack roll. So you have a +8 to this roll, +10 to the roll from the spirit bonus, sorry. Okay, so with a total of 21, you deal a pretty deft blow. Incredibly accurate as you attempt to parry the blows being directed towards you. You find an opening to slip your sword downwards and then kind of swinging up to try and both attack the sword to deal damage to its form, but also kind of swat it away from you to give you a little bit of space. So you deal 8 points of damage with this attack. So let me do that. Oh, wrong one. So with that, you have your second attack. So give me the attack roll. Feel free to enter again, everybody. As being level 5, we have a feature called Extra Attack, which allows us to attack 2 times on our turn. It's very nice. So feel free to enter for a second dice roll here. Do we need a second attack bonus? No, no, no. It applies to both. It applies to both, don't worry. It lasts for the entirety of your turn, including if you order Owlden to attack someone too. Okay, closing the giveaway. Okay, Herb, give us a second attack roll. It has +10 to attack, combining the spirit bonus with your sword attack bonus. Unfortunately, a 1 is a 1, so you automatically miss. So you attempt to swing down on this enemy once again. However, in the process, you get your sword lodged into the wooden section of the door that is still kind of hanging open a little bit to the point of it being a slight obstruction. So you will unfortunately have disadvantage on your next attack roll that you make on your next turn. Okay, so that brings us then to Alaric. Alaric is going to fire off a firebolt at the only target he can currently see, which is across the room. So moving kind of to your side and firing just past your thigh. Now let's see if he hits. Yep, he hits. So that deals... Let me just double check the damage. Yeah, so the firebolt does 10 points of damage. Let me just make sure there's no resistance here as well. I should have checked that. Yeah, there is none. Okay. So the sword is momentarily engulfed in flame as this mote of fire explodes upon it, dealing a significant amount of damage. And you can see almost like the sword has rusted in these areas that suffered severe, in parts melting, especially around the hilt where the leather binding has burned away. And there are sections of the sword which are very clearly severely damaged to the point of it being less practical as a weapon. We are now on Roga. Roga is going to attempt to finish this target if possible. Sorry, that's not accurate. So, Roga is going to slam down with the quarterstaff. Hits, dealing... Sorry, I haven't had a chance to really look at their damage bonuses here. 9 damage, and the sword clatters to the ground, defeated. So he just, with both hands clutching this quarterstaff, slams down. The sword slams into the wall and then falls limp onto the floor of this room. That brings us to Akara, who is going to use... What are you going to use, Akara? What are you feeling? Yeah, it is going to be a Sacred Flame. So giving you some more inclination in character as to Akara's power and where she draws it from. You watch as this dark black and yellow flame erupts from beneath the sword, erupting from the floorboards itself and the gaps through them. And it is momentarily engulfed in it, dealing 2d8, which would be 8 damage. Oh, actually needs to make a dex save. What am I doing? Hang on. They have to roll for things. Okay, does not succeed. So, takes the damage. So, this sword now is just flailing madly in the air, just spinning in place. Still able to fight, but possibly not for long. As we get to the top of initiative here, with the sword, it is going to attempt to attack you again. Does not hit. In this wild flailing, it slams into wall, into door, into doorway, everything but you, as it's just kind of almost aimlessly swinging around, possibly not even trying to hit anything, just some kind of malfunction of the magical animation which is allowing it to assault you. That is now your turn, chat. What would you like to do? As your turn comes up once again, this sword is severely damaged to the point where it is now under threat of collapsing in a similar fashion to the one that you had just seen fall limply to your side. Sword on sword action. You love to see it. Okay, so choosing to attack number 1 for some sword on sword action. I would like an attack roll from you, chat. The first attack here to see if you can hit. It will have disadvantage because of the critical fail on the last round. So we'll be rolling twice on this first attack. Okay, closing the giveaway. Another attack bonus? Y'all are going hard on these. I love to see it. You absolutely did, Shadow. Thank you very much. So you will have a plus 10 to hit with the sword, but it will be with disadvantage. Still pretty good chance of landing the strike, though. So closing the first giveaway. Shadow squared. Okay, Shadow, give us our first roll. So with disadvantage, we roll twice and we take the lower result. So we have to hope that this one is high. Okay, so it's a total of 16. So this attack, unfortunately, would not hit, regardless of what the second roll is. So we don't need to go with it. So unfortunately, you attempt to pull your sword free from the door frame. However, in the process of doing so, you kind of give a half-assed swing and you realize that you've lost your opportunity here to land this particular blow. However, you do have your second attack. So here comes the second dice giveaway. So second attack here. This does not have disadvantage. It's just a normal roll. And you still have the bonus from earlier. So it will be another plus 10 to hit. And it will just be a flat roll with no advantage or disadvantage, making it much more likely that you will actually land the attack. Going to close the giveaway pretty shortly here. Closing the giveaway now. Okay, Herb. Herb, give us our attack, please. Okay, so with a dirty 21. You strike true. Sorry, choking my own saliva there. Swinging diagonally against the blade, just managing it to catch it in an opportune moment where it is flailing towards you. You imagine in this moment as if you were fighting a real swords person. You strike a blow that glances off the blade, and in the process of scraping down the side of it, appears to blunt it somewhat, and then the blade falls to the ground, limply and inactive, as you defeat the second combatant here. Okay. Leaving initiative then, as the combat ends. And we return to investigating further. So this combat doesn't seem to immediately have drawn the attention of any other creatures within this space, animated or otherwise. You hear remarkably very little noise happening around you. So you enter into the room, you take a look around. There are numerous mundane weapons here, but nothing particularly interesting. Looking around the room itself, you find that there is a door above you at the top, and there is also a door below you. So, where would you like to go next? Up or down? Obviously, you can go back, and you can check out a different room, but since you have entered this space, you can continue to explore further in. Up. 2 votes for up. Okay, well, if anybody else doesn't disagree, we'll go with that. 3 for up. Okay, cool. So, I'm not going to get you to make another strength check. At this point, with the amount of doors that you have busted open, you're getting pretty proficient at doing so. So you move up towards the door, you crack it open in a similar fashion, and inside you see, thankfully, no more floating objects. Which is a relief in this moment, I imagine. In this room is very clearly some kind of dining chamber. And towards the back, you see that there is some kind of closet, probably for storing Tupperware, cutlery and the sort. And there is also... There is also a chest towards the back. So, what would you like to do? Nothing terribly interesting that you can see immediately apart from the chest towards the back. Everybody else begins to slowly filter in behind you as well. As they do. In some marching order, that makes sense. Check for traps. Okay, give me an investigation check, please, chat. Thank you very much for your votes. I appreciate it. It's always good to have some clarity about what the course of action is. As you are kind of beginning to look around this room, inspecting walls, inspecting items, looking for any kind of threat that may be present, you're starting to feel the wounds of the combats a little bit. You're starting to realize that you has taken the blunt of the blows so far, whereas usually it would be Drink, unfortunately, or Roga. The circumstances have meant that you yourself have been suffering the brunt of the blows. And you're lamenting the fact that, you know, at a time like this, he would have been the first to motion towards you, to bandage your wounds, to heal them up, and to restore you to a healthy state that you were in previously. You're aware that the other party members currently traveling with you have magical abilities. You don't really know exactly what they are. Okay, closing the giveaway. Onochi. Okay, Anochi, please give us our investigation check. It has a +4 to the roll. Let's see what we get. Okay, so with a total of 10, checking around the room, you don't see any obvious signs of traps. No telltale signs, no holes in the wall, no hidden pressure plates in the floor or under specific objects. As you take a look down, you take a look at the chests, you also don't seem to notice any traps. You don't know if that is necessarily means that it's safe. As you checked in the previous one as well, you didn't see any harmful traps, but there was some kind of arcane trigger within that you did not notice. You don't know if this is a similar situation or not. So, do you want to leave? Or do you want to take a look at the chest, for example? What would you like to do? Booba! Very good, very good. Okay, I'm just going to check something here. Cast Cure Wounds. You can do that as well, yeah, if you want to. After this, you can heal yourself up a little bit. Okay, so you vote to open the chest. Okay, so you very cautiously pry open the chest, lift up the lid. There is no arcane flash. There is no other signs that you may have missed something important, potentially deadly. And as you lift it up, you see that there are a number of items littering this chest, mixed in among what seems to be tablecloths, various wares that may be useful in the situation. There is one particular thing that you notice that seems a little bit out of the ordinary. There is a particular jug in the bottom that strikes you as potentially magical. It is rounded and bulbous at the top and seems to have multiple cork stops in it that surround its entire form. At best, you would count that there are... let me just count this one. 10 different cork stoppers, each with their individual spout on this brown jug, which is obviously unusual. Do you want to take it? Yeah, you could ask Akara about it. That's absolutely true. She does live here after all. I'll say, given the situation, it makes perfect sense for you to do that. So you point down towards the jug, wary of picking it up in case there's something underneath, maybe some kind of pressure plate or something of the sort. She kind of wanders over to you. Oh, yes, well, that's an alchemy jug. Useful for all sorts of things. You know, if you need to pour yourself a drink, a nightcap, perhaps some honey, perhaps some mayonnaise, perhaps some oil, or if you're feeling extra spicy, poison. She kind of just smiles towards you in a very sort of unsettling way. You know, the usual things. Who knows what kind of dinner guests you'll be entertaining on any given day. And you're at that point keenly aware that you were invited to dinner, and you don't know what one of those things could have been poured out of that jug. Could have been mayonnaise. Could have been poison. So, do you want to take the jug? Or do you want to leave it? It's up to you. She doesn't seem to care. Just a quick question, by the way, guys. Are we happy with the level of the ambience here? Like, do you think it could be a little bit louder? Are we glad that it's just very much in the background here so you can hear me clearly? How are we feeling about it? Because I'm using a different kind of audio system at the moment than I used to use to make sure everything is like above board, and I'm absolutely unquestionably not using other people's stuff that they've made. Did not realize there was any. Oh shit. All right, then it definitely needs to be louder then. Is that better? We happier with that? Okay, cool. It's very kind of like low rumbling, so you might not have been able to hear it. Okay, cool. So just for my reference, I'm just sort of setting the audio levels as we play at the moment, so yeah. Okay, so you decide to take the jug. You now have in your inventory a alchemy jug. I can, thanks to D&D Beyond, I can add that from here, which is great. So inventory, manage inventory, add item, alchemy jug. Add to supplies. There we go. You now have an alchemy jug. Thanks, D&D Beyond. Sponsor me. Okay. So, now in this room, as far as you can tell, nothing else particularly interesting. What would you like to do now? Obviously, you know this space up here. You've been in here, though through a different door. I'll say for simplicity's sake that you move back through into the central chamber. Well, actually, no, you move through into this area. Would you like to go from this room where you'd had this sword fight? Would you like to go right back into the central chamber, or would you like to go into the bottom here? I'll reset the vote. Sorry, I should have done that before I asked. Where would you like to go next? Up, down, or right? I don't know why I decided to use left, right, top, and bottom when I could have just gone left, right, up, and down. Sorry, I don't know why. I don't know why. But it seems like we're pretty much in agreement. Some people, they like bottom. Some people, they just want to go down. I get it. It's the way it is. Okay, so again, prying the door open. You wander into another room here. Thankfully, not trapped. You're starting to realize that traps definitely don't seem to be something set up in this otherwise residential space, lest somebody accidentally set them off. Akara confirms as much as she sees you constantly looking around for these kinds of things, and she just reassures you that, listen, if you're going to live somewhere, don't put traps everywhere. It just makes sense. Don't be silly. So as you enter into this space, you see that there's a very nice cozy corner where there is a campfire. Or it's not really a campfire, a fireplace. Wow, that took me a little bit too long to figure out. There is a fireplace in the corner of the room. There are a number of barrels and crates which seem to house basic supplies. And there is also what seems to be a guest bed. Also here in the corner, which is perfectly made and undisturbed. It doesn't seem as though there is anything particularly interesting in this room upon initial inspection. That's exactly what someone who puts traps in their home would say. That is a very good point. But I promise you, she's telling the truth. I swear. DM's word. Okay, there's no other entrance or exit from this room. Seems as though this is a bit of a dud, though it's nice to know that there is a room where something deadly isn't residing. And you enter back into this central space. So from here, there is only a door to the right that you have not entered into so far. But I'll ask anyway. Are we going right? Do a flip. Woo! I think we leave. Do it. Do it. I dare you. Nothing bad will happen. Okay. So you decide to go right here. right? And flirt with Akara. I mean, if you want to, you know, start pursuing that relationship, that's up to you. Okay, so opening the right door again with the crowbar, which is starting to see a little bit of wear now that you've been using it in such rapid succession. And entering into the space, you see that there is a cupboard, there is a stairway, and there is also a door. So, what would you like to do here? You can take the stairs, or you can go down. Search cupboard, can do. Pet the herb. Yeah. Pet the herb. Poor herb. Okay. So first searching the cupboard, as you open it up, there are a number of objects that fly out towards you. Little bits of Tupperware, cups, plates that fly out towards you, kind of smashing into you and just kind of essentially irritating you as they almost dance around you. It doesn't take long, however, before you manage to subdue them, smashing the plates into the walls. There's a lot of noise, but you're not harmed by this. As the entire Beauty and the Beast ensemble throws themselves at you to their dismay. It has no effect. So, heading down then into the next room, you see another room which seems to be some kind of dining area. Very, very simple. 4 chairs around a circular table. There is another chest in this room. What would you like to do? Everybody at this point, by the way, is starting to follow behind you again. Alaric entering into the room where you had smashed all these plates. Everybody's slightly alarmed by the ruckus, but by the time they arrived, you've already smashed all of these bits of pottery onto the ground into shards. My question is very simply, are you going to open this chest or no? I'll say for simplicity's sake, you ask Akara. She has no reason to believe that it is trapped. Whether or not you trust her is up to you. Yes? Okay. So, inside, you find... 1 second. There we go. Second. Checking my notes real quick. Okay. All right, so in here, you find what you assume to be winnings, perhaps, from social situations, perhaps a little bit of light gambling, odd bits and bobs. Seems pretty mismatched, but there are a couple of things in there in this collection that seem interesting, perhaps valuable to you. You find a number of gemstones. Can I add gemstones in D&D Beyond? Let's find out. Because that would be good. Inventory. Manage inventory. Add items. You can! Fantastic. Okay, so you find a citrine gemstone. One second. What are you doing? Citrine. Worth 50 gold pieces. Thanks, D&D Beyond. Yeah, exactly, Enochi. You get it. You find a transparent white smoky gray quartz again, worth 50 gold. And you also find what you at first mistake for some kind of gemstone, perhaps a pearl, but there's something different about its coloration that indicates that it is something a little bit more magical. You hand it down to Alaric, who spends a little bit of time with it, and soon after informs you that what you have found using the Identify spell, cast ritually, is a Pearl of Power. So to give you a description of what this does, while this pearl is on your person, you can use an action to speak its command word and regain 1 expended spell slot. So it is a quick way to regain a spell slot at will. It can only be of 3rd level or lower. So let me add that to your inventory. Thanks, D&D Beyond. You're the best. All right, so a little bit of extra loot collected. I did see someone earlier had said something about cure wounds. You are on 21 out of 39 hit points. You're at half your hit points right now. Is healing something you would like to do right now? All things considered? Something to consider before we move on? The only way out of this room is now to essentially climb the stairs to the 2nd floor. Or if this is the ground floor, the 1st floor, depending on how you interpret that nonsense. Cure wounds? Okay. So, casting Cure Wounds on yourself, you regain, let me just double check because we're using average dice rolls right now. Spells, Cure Wounds, I believe is 1d8 plus your wisdom. So you regain, 7 hit points. As you do this, Akara looks down at you, kind of tuts to herself. Come on, that's not going to be enough. If you're going to fight with me here, I don't want to be faffing around, patching you up in the fight. Come here. She sort of pats you down, takes a good look at you, kind of almost forcefully turning your face side to side to inspect your injuries. And she is going to, revealing in this moment, in character, that she also has some healing capabilities of her own. Just needed a little bit of prompting. Is going to heal you for another... What would she do it as? Probably... Yeah, she'll use a 1st level as well to give you 9 hit points back. So as Akara kind of has not a mimicry, but a different incarnation of a similar spell. You're familiar with the incantation itself, but the way it manifests is very different. You almost feel as if your wounds are searing themselves closed. It is a lot more painful in that moment, as opposed to the soothing you feel from your nature-aligned magic that you're connected to. There is this almost, not cruel, but practical renewing of your vitality. It's very direct and abrupt spike of pain followed by the closing of certain wounds over your body, restoring health to you. So, you begin walking up the stairs one by one. I need to ask you at this point, chat, are you traveling quietly or no? Starting the poll as you enter the 2nd floor, unaware of what awaits you above. How are you proceeding? One vote for quietly. Understood, understood. My cat's here, by the way, to encourage you. Good job, chat. Wait, hang on. Good job, chat. You're doing so good. Wow. Wow. Great job, chat. Wow, you're so good at Dungeons and Dragons. Oh my god. Hello. And she's gone. Okay, so you're proceeding quietly. I need a stealth check from you, please, chat. Opening the dice giveaway, feel free to jump in on that. I will be rolling for everybody else. We're going to go from Alaric first. Okay, Alaric rolling fairly high here. Next, we have Roga. Also, not bad. A lot better than he's done recently, so that's worth something. And then Akara finally. Not quite so good. Okay, so Akara clearly feeling a little bit too comfortable in her own home. Is sort of picking up objects, putting them down, not paying a whole lot of attention to how much noise she is making by doing so. So closing the giveaway. Okay, Onochi, please give us our stealth check. As soon as you're ready. Okay, so I believe that's a 23 total. No, it's at a plus 11 now. Okay, so you are proceeding incredibly cautiously yourself as you are leading the group and making way with such light feet that at times you wonder if people are actually following you or not. As you disappear above the floor, there's a moment where you have to duck back around because everybody's not sure what direction you've gone in as you exit out of line of sight. Okay, Alden as well. Yeah, okay, so overall, your group seems to be traveling pretty quietly. But your teammates are making more noise than you, and it is noticeable. Okay. You did miss rally time, I'm very sorry. So you appear on the next floor up. One second, chat. Tilly's being attacked by a kraken in Sea of Thieves. Okay, so one by one, you group up in this next room above. Not the kraken! And then Alden as well, 1 second. Grab him. There we go. Okay, so you all group up in this next room. You have, at this point in time, 2 doors. You have one door up. Ooh, let me move you. One door up. And one door to your left. Akara tells you that the door on your left leads further into the dining area. And the door above you, also shut, leads to the next staircase that leads out of out to the next floor. So at this point, it's more of a question of whether or not you're going to check the surrounding space on this next floor for things that might be useful to you. Akara does say that there are numerous items and objects of interest throughout the space that you may help you in the fight to come. It's a matter of whether or not you want to rush towards your enemy or explore further. So, what would you like to do here? Would you like to go up towards the next staircase? Or would you like to go left to venture further into the first floor? Okay, so you decide that you're going to go further into the building instead of rushing ahead. So, using the crowbar once again, you pry the door open. What I'll ask for you instead, at this point, because you don't know what is going to be further beyond where you are now, is I want you to give me a sleight of hand check, because I want to see how quietly you can start opening these doors. Now that the strength is somewhat redundant, you know how to open these doors. You've done so several times already. I want to see if you can do it a little bit more quietly as you get more experience in doing so. So this will have a +5 to the roll. Never mind, a +7 to the roll. Thank you very much, Herb. Okay, so continuing then. Closing the giveaway. Okay, Firefly. Firefly, please give us our roll with a +7 total. Okay, so with a total of 16, as you begin to pry this door open, you start to think about the areas that you can relieve itself from the frame in a way that is going to make as little noise as possible. And you're hearing these kind of voices filter into your stream of consciousness, advising you to take this area, no, this area. There's a conflict that eventually starts coalescing into some sort of useful advice. And you actually manage to open this door fairly quietly. Inside, you're greeted with the sight of another dining area, clearly designed to be used when there are more guests around, when you need to entertain a number of people, perhaps a banquet. And you enter inside. As you do so, however, and you enter this room, there's something you just notice before it happens. You watch as it seems for a moment that a wind enters the room and causes the... why am I struggling to think about what this word is? Sorry, breaking the moment. This dinner cloth begins to tremble in the wind. And then you realized there's nowhere for wind to enter this room. There is no draft flowing through here because there is so little space for air to enter into the space itself. And then one of these dinner rugs pulls itself out, almost like a magic trick. However, the goblets and plates and knives clatter to the ground, pulled out as it is. And this dinner cloth seems to jump out towards you, floating in your direction, expanding its form as far as possible in an attempt to encompass you completely. It does get a surprise attack on you. We will see what happens. Okay. So, with a dirty 20, this dinner cloth wraps itself around you, almost mummifying you in the process, binding you tightly. Restraining you, blinding you from your environment, and suffocating you as it squeezes your body and prevents any kind of air from entering into this binding that has wrapped you up. So tight to the point of every time you dare open your mouth, you can feel it kind of pulling into your jaw. That is where we will end today's session and pick it up next time to see exactly how this unfolds.